Welcome to the point of view. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How y'all doing tonight? It's your boy Mike D, aka DDE80, aka 13th Wonder of the World. I want to shout out to all the veterans today and tell them Happy Veterans Day. I know the day is almost up, but I still want to give you guys your flowers and say Happy Veterans Day to all you guys, especially the ones that go overseas and has fought for the country. I appreciate y'all very much for the men's and women's that has went out here and bled, sweat, and gave their tears for the country. Have nothing but respect for you all. This is your day. Thank you again. Thank you, veterans, for doing what you had to do to make sure that everybody is in a safe place, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Thank you all. Shout out to the Point Place family. Shout out to Bobby Reezy, of course. Shout out to M. Breezy, my little homie. Shout out to Naya, my sister. I love all y'all. Thank y'all for joining the Point of View at 11 o'clock at night. Yeah, it's 11 o'clock at night. I just got through watching the NFL game, listening to the analysts between the Rams and the Dolphins, even though I don't like the Dolphins because they're in the division with the Patriots. They're 3-6 now. They had the game won the whole time. Their defense played great. I will give them credit. Odell caught a game-winning play by catching a ball that extended a run. Not only that, the Cheetah finally got a touchdown. Mozart played great. Tula actually did play great today. He was safe out there. He wasn't getting knocked down a lot. Dolphins played great for a 3-6 team. I'm not trying to be funny about it, but the Rams were the better team. They were 4-5, but they couldn't get in the end zone. All 8 points came from kicks, and the kicker had a great day, but nobody couldn't get in the end zone. Cooper Kupp played great. He had 60 yards, close to 50 or something like that. Puka played great. He had over close to 70 yards receiving. I don't know, man. They just did not do what they were supposed to do to win when they were supposed to win. So I don't know what's going on with the Rams. I know the Rams could be in the playoff contention, but we'll have to see what happens with that. But a good job by the Dolphins, even though I don't care for them, but a good job for them for keeping the Rams out of the end zone. So that's what we saw today in the world of football. Let me get some scores on the NBA, and then I'll get to wrestling. SGA had 45 points as OKC held on to beat the Clippers. This was a good game. The Clippers were getting blowed out at one time. Not blowed out, but they were kind of out of the game. But SGA and the OKC Thunder were able to come back and they weren't able to come back. They just held on to what they had and were able to beat the Clippers. 45 points by SGA. Also, the Cavs are 12-0. They went to Chicago and beat the Bulls. They're 12-0, man. They right now they're riding high, man. But is that going to be enough to beat Boston? I don't think so. I think Boston is still a better team. I just don't think that they can beat the Boston Celtics, man. That's just my thoughts on it. That's my analogies on that. But congratulations to the Cavs for being 12-0. Great start to them. A little college basketball, 24 ranked Rutgers beat St. Peter's. I think it was a blowout. Dylan Harper had 24 points. Dylan Harper is one of those guys that they are thinking that could possibly be an NBA player. We'll see what happens if they keep on playing the way they're playing. Congratulations to Rutgers. Northwestern State got beat by Oklahoma. They were in the game, guys. So they're 1-2 on the season, but they were in the game against Oklahoma. They just didn't pull it off. I'm hoping that NSU can turn their season around where they could get back to where they were at one time in the NCAA tournament. Another college basketball score, Florida State beat Florida A&M 93-54. Man, they beat them by 39 points, not 40, but by 39 points. Man, I can tell you right now, they left their game at their room, in their dorm room or somewhere, man. I don't know what's going on with them. Switching back to NBA, but congratulations to Florida State. Switching back to NBA, the Brooklyn Nets beat the Pelicans by 2 points, 107-105. B.I. had 24 points for the Pelicans. It just was not enough to stop Cam Thomas, Schroeder, and Cam Johnson and all those boys there to win that game. The Pelicans, I think they've lost 3 in a row, if I'm not mistaken. Remember, the Pelicans don't have Troy Murphy, Herb Jones, Deontay Murray, Zion Williamson. They're kind of depleted right now because half of their starters are not even playing. But the Pelicans are still going out there trying to play hard. And that's all you could ask for a team when you're undermanned. Spurs rust the Kings. Man, they roast the Kings bad, man. Wemby, 34 points, 14 rebounds, 6 assists, excuse me. For the Kings, Fox had 24, Sabonis has 23, and DeRozan had 21. And you mean to tell me you guys put up 70, 60, 68 points, and you still could not win? All three of you guys had 27 points, and that was not enough to beat the San Antonio Spurs? What's going on with you guys? Sacramento Kings, man, right now they kind of tripping, man. I thought they were better than that. Also, the Houston Rockets beat the Washington Wizards like that ain't nothing new right there. The Washington Wizards losing to the Houston Rockets. Sagan had 27 points. Kuzma had a big game, but it wasn't enough for them to beat the Houston Rockets. Houston Rockets won, I think they've won like 4 in a row. They're trying to get back into the playoff mix and trying to see what they can do to get, I don't know, they could possibly be in a play-in this year. Who knows, man? We'll see what happens with that. But, man, good Lord. That was a great move right there by, the Houston Rockets. Got to be more careful with the Rockets because the Rockets are a team that could possibly beat you on your floor. Those young guys are coming, along with Dylan and Fred. And I know a lot of people think Fred ain't the veteran for him, and Dylan ain't neither. But I here to tell you, they're good enough to get those guys to what they need to get them to, and that's a playoff push. And you'll see what happens because Fred is my boy. Fred VanVleet is my boy. Remember, he was going hard in those finals against Golden State about 5 years ago. But, things are sometimes, and this is a side note before I get into wrestling, sometimes things are not the way that they should be or the way that they don't look to be. But hold on. Keep your hands in the man's hand. The big man upstairs always sees and always knows what's going on. A positive thought before I move to the next segment. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to just tell you this. Prayer does work. Just keep praying, man. If you don't do nothing else, just pray, man. Just ask the man above. What is it, Lord? Just help me through it. Help me through whatever it is. Because I'm telling you, sometimes it seems dim. And that's how I was feeling a couple of days ago. Feeling dim, man. But I knew God was always there. And you got to remember that as well, ladies and gentlemen. That's just a side note I want to talk to you guys about before I go into the wrestling segment. But always remember that. Keep your heads up. It ain't over with, and that's just me hitting my glasses. So if you hear that noise. But it ain't over with until God says over with. Keep that in mind. All right, on to the next one. Let's talk about Raw tonight. And let's talk about AEW Collision from Saturday. But I'm going to start with Raw tonight. As the show started out tonight, the World Heavyweight Champion Gunther was in the ring talking to Damian Priest. Damian Priest came out, and the way that they're setting it up is like Damian Priest is spooking Gunther, but we all know what's going to happen in the end. At Survivor Series, the match has been set for Survivor Series, where Gunther is probably going to retain the title. I don't see him winning, and who I say, Damian Priest, because I think that they want to ride this wave with Gunther until WrestleMania. Now, Gunther could win, could lose, and they put him in a one-off match against Goldberg at the Royal Rumble, and Gunther wins the Royal Rumble because he's never won the Royal Rumble. He can win the Royal Rumble and go to Mania and win the title back because they see value in him. This is just me predicting the other parts of it, but I will say this. I don't think they're ready to take the belt off of him. I think they want to keep the belt on him for a long time because he's one of the up-and-coming guys that they believe in WWE. And it also set up a match between Damian Priest and Ludwig Kaiser, who lost. And I'll talk about that later, later on in the segment. Also, Damage Control. They had an interview with Damage Control. Damage Control against the Pure Fusion Collection. The team of Baszler, DeVille, and Zoe Stark. And it was 2-on-3. But then comes back Dakota Kai, who was injured. She really did have a legit injury. She came back, and it was a 3-on-3 match. And so with that being said, you guys got to also remember that Io Sky is the number one contender to Liv Morgan's World Heavyweight title match. That's coming up soon. And of course, Damage Control won that match. And I'll talk about Io Sky a little bit later in the segment. So then we have R-Truth in the back talking with Kofi Kingston. And Xavier Woods comes up, and then comes Pete Dunne. And Kofi, stands up for R-Truth. And so they end up having a match. Kofi Kingston versus Pete Dunne. Man, let me tell y'all something, man. Let me tell you why I'm getting so frustrated with what's going on in WWE, man. Kofi Kingston has been around that company for like 18 years, if I'm not mistaken. Kofi Kingston has been a WWE champion. He's been a tag team champion for 12 times, if I'm not mistaken. He's been an Intercontinental champion. He's been a U.S. champion. He's been one of the best, purest wrestlers in that company. And Xavier Woods costs him the match with Pete Dunne. I understand that they're trying to have a story with the New Day breaking up and all this here. I get that. But why not let Kofi Kingston win that match? Kofi Kingston loses and Pete Dunne wins. Now, what does that do for Pete Dunne? He's not even in any type of title contention matches. What it does is it builds him up. It builds him up, builds him up because they want to see what they can do with him. That's why they did it. But I am tired of Kofi Kingston losing. I really am. If he was out of his contract, I would say he go to AEW and join the Hurt Syndicate. That's just my thoughts on that, man. That's just my thoughts on that, and I'm gonna go to the next match. But man, come on, man. And absolutely bad loss for Kofi Kingston in my book. Absolutely, man. It's just absolutely a bad loss for Kofi Kingston. People can say what they want to say, but I know what's going on. And anybody else that watches wrestling, that really, really watches wrestling, understands what's going on here. Again, Kofi Kingston has lost the last 3 matches they've had on Raw, except for that one tag match that they won when they beat, I think it was the Creeds, if I'm not mistaken. But they lose to the Viking Raiders, not once, but twice, if I'm not mistaken. So the Viking Raiders, no, actually once, if I'm not mistaken. My bad, guys. I think it was once they lost. This has been going enough of this, man. Just makes my head hurt to hear that and to see that happen. It does. Because I think Kofi Kingston should be appreciated more better than how he's getting appreciated right now. I know he's been with your company for all this time. He's one of the greatest African-American wrestlers in the business. And you mean to tell me that he cannot get another push at a title? I can see if this is what I don't understand. I know you want Braun Breaker to be that next mid-card guy because you're going to try to push him to become a world champion, put him in the main event push probably sometime next year because they did have a tease between him and Gunther. And here's another thing that people don't forgot. Braun Breaker was the one that took Gunther out of NXT and put him on the main roster. Because he was the last person that beat Gunther before Gunther came on the main roster. But back to Kofi Kingston's situation, I don't like it one bit. I don't. I don't like it one bit because I think Kofi Kingston should be somewhere fighting for either the WWE Undisputed title against Cody Rhodes, or he should be up there fighting against Gunther for the World Heavyweight title. And there's no disrespect to Damian Priest whatsoever. But you got to have fresh challenges for Gunther. We've already seen this match We're going to see it again. But here's the other deal. Make a fresh matchup for him. Seth Rollins versus Gunther would have been a great match. But what is it benefiting for Seth? Because Seth don't need the title to get over. A match like this, if Kofi Kingston was in it, and I'm hypothetically talking right now, but if Kofi Kingston was in a match like this, he's already over? But what would happen if he would get over again? Remake his character. On to the next segment. Seth Rollins and Bronson Reed fight. Their match is going to take place next week on Raw. By the way, let me say this already. I hate to be the guy to do this, but they're taping next week's episode of Raw right now because it was a 4-hour show, and they're doing that again. They're doing what they used to do back in the Attitude Era. They would tape one show live, and the next week the show would be taped. So they're doing a lot of that before they go to Netflix. There's nowhere in the world that when they go to Netflix, Raw's going to be taped. Unless it's holidays and unless they're going overseas. You can best to believe that. Shout out to Roman Reigns. But Seth Rollins and Bronson Reed, they were fighting tonight. Security had to break them up. They set up the match for next week's Raw. I'm quite sure they're going to spawn next week's Raw either tomorrow or Wednesday and let everybody know what happens on there. Somebody asked me why I don't talk about hockey, but I'm finna get back to the rest of this card. But a lot of people ask me why I don't talk about hockey. I don't watch hockey like that. I watch college basketball, but I don't even have enough to talk about college basketball. You know, I only talk about college basketball when it's a game that rivalries I want to see or getting close to the NCAA tournament. But, you know, maybe when the platform gets bigger and I have more time, then I could talk about it. Also, the match, like I said earlier, Kaiser versus Damian Priest. Damian Priest beat Kaiser single-handedly without the help of Gunther. You know, they're building Damian Priest up to be this main event guy. Looks like there's some dissension going on with the Judgment Day. Finn Balor and Dominic Mysterio, who's probably going to be the new leader of the Judgment Day. Let me say that, because Finn is wandering off a lot. And this is what happens. This is what happened when they were trying to get rid of Edge. This is what happened when they were getting rid of Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley. This is the same thing. Finn Balor's going to be on the list out of the Judgment Day. In a shocker tonight, The Miz and the Final Testament pulled a fast one on the Wyatt Six. For the first time since the Wyatt Six has been on Raw, they were on the short end of the stick. Uncle Howdy, Joe Gacy, Eric Rowan, Nikki Cross, Dexter Lumis, all of them got destroyed in the ring tonight by the Final Testament. So this is going to end up. Now, I will say this, and I don't know if people would agree with me on this, but that would be a tremendous War Games match right there between them and the Wyatt Six. The Final Testament versus the Wyatt Six. You put them in the ring at the Survivor Series, great matchup you'll see. And it doesn't have to be a War Games. It would be better for War Games, but if it was just a single Survivor Series match, it would fit the bill. Also, Seth Rollins turned down both Solo and turned down Sami Zayn for wanting to be the fifth member of the Survivor Series match between the OG bloodline and the new bloodline. They need a fifth guy. I don't know who Solo's gonna get as his fifth guy. It's probably gonna be somebody that nobody expects them to get, and I don't know who's gonna be there for the OG bloodline. Seth Rollins says he doesn't want to have nothing to do with Roman Reigns because he just had a WrestleMania match with him, but Jimmy and Jay just had one too. And now they're back on the same page. So it's interesting to see what goes on with that, ladies and gentlemen. That's just, how I feel about that as well. And the main event, of course, tonight was the women's tag team match. I was kind of skeptical because I thought that Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez were going to possibly become the women's tag team champions, and it just didn't go that way for them. Interference from Naomi from SmackDown. Io Sky, of course, the number one contender for Liv Morgan's World Heavyweight title. Nia Jax and Tiffany Stratton, they all interfered. I think that's going to set up a War Games in my book. I think that's going to set up a War Games between Liv Morgan's team and Nia Jax's team. Or I could be wrong because I thought about something else too. Something that they told me that one Rhea Ripley's on her way back to WWE. So I don't know how that's going to go down, but I think you should have those women in War Games. Everybody that was a part of that tonight should be in War Games. They're still teasing a little bit of Jade and Bianca breaking up, and they're going to be duking it out. I think that's going to happen soon. But if I'm WWE, I don't put that match between Jade and Bianca. I will wait to WrestleMania to make that match between Jade and Bianca. I would not make that match with them at no Royal Rumble. It could be a big match at Royal Rumble. It could be a big match at Saturday night's main events. But no, you don't make that match then. You make that match for WrestleMania. At WrestleMania, you make that match. Y'all still feel all right, huh? I do too, man. I do too. I really, really do. Like I said before, God is good, man. God is good. God's good. And we sometimes we don't understand the things that happens to us in life, but at the end of the day, if you live to make it through it, God is good, man. All right, on the AEW's Collision from Saturday night, House of Black, they won against some jobbers, which sent out FTR. And so now it's going to be FTR against House of Black again in a classic tag team match. I think it's going to be Malachi Black and either going to be Malachi Black. I think it's going to be Big Brody and Malachi Black against FTR. It's going to be interesting. I think FTR will win. All this is a part of a tournament to get in the ring with Private Party for the AEW Tag Team titles. My thoughts on something that I wanted to talk about from Friday night. I don't know if I think I did talk about it, but if I didn't, I want to talk about it again. And that is WWE is bringing in something that I've been talking about for the last 2 years. And then I'll get back to AEW because I just seen it on my on my timesheet. There's going to be a new crowning of the WWE Women's United States Championship. Now, me and Fadeaway talked about this the other night. He told me who he thinks could be the first ever. He says it could be Bayley or Naomi. I think it could be Chelsea Green, because those are under talents that are going to be in it. Meacham's going to be in it. B-Fab's going to be in it. You go through all the women that SmackDown has, and you say to yourself, how many women do they have on that show that can do it? And I can name mostly all of them that are on SmackDown right now. And I can tell you right now who it is, because I had it wrote down. But I know them off the top of my dome, and then I'll get back to AEW. You got Bayley. You got Naomi. You've got the women's tag team champions, Jade and Bianca. You've got Tiffany Stratton, who's Money in the Bank. Nia Jax is probably not going to win there because Nia Jax is the SmackDown women's champion. You've got Meacham, who I think could make a phenomenal women's United States champion. You've got B-Fab, who's an up-and-comer, who gets physical now in the ring. You've got Elektra Lopez, who we don't see that much on television, and Santos, who I think should have another shot at LA Knight for the U.S. title. You've got, I think that's it, if I'm not mistaken. You've got those girls right there, injury prone. Oh, you've got injury prone, and I'm going to say it, I hope she doesn't come back and get hurt again. But you got injury prone Charlotte Flair, and you've got Blair Davenport. I forgot about her because she's been out and not on TV as well neither. So you got a nice little mixture of girls that could, and you don't need to make this no battle royal. Make this a regular tournament and let it sizzle for at least 2 months, and then crown them the champion at either Royal Rumble or an Elimination Chamber. That's my thoughts on that. Now, let me get back to AEW for a minute. So then we had Bobby Lashley, MVP, talking to Max Caster from The Acclaim. Telling you right now, The Acclaim's going to break up soon. The Acclaim is going to break up soon, and Anthony Bowens is going to be by himself because Max Caster is going to join up with MVP. Roderick Strong beat the Beast in an okay match. Roderick Strong trying to get the match 3 so he can fight MJF. Ashley Vox was beat by Chris Statlander. Chris Statlander beat her in a few minutes, but then after that, the TBS champion Mercedes Moné came out to the ring and interfered, setting up and keeping their rivalry heated. There will be a match 3 between Mariah May and Anna Jay. I think Mariah May is going to win the rubber match, because it's a Fall Count Anywhere match, if I'm not mistaken. And that's going to take place. I don't know when is it going to take place. I think it's going to take place either on Dynamite or on next week's Collision. The Outrunners beat Top Flight in a great tag team match. The Outrunners are there just to get people in seats and to make them laugh. I don't think they're going to win the tag team titles anytime soon. But it'll be interesting to see what would happen if the Outrunners were the AEW Tag Team Champions. Action Andretti and Jack Perry, they had a match. Jack Perry, of course, won. Jack Perry is trying to be the new version of Raven to me. He acts like him and everything. But Daniel Garcia still wants to go up against him, and Daniel Garcia will get a shot at the TNT title against Jack Perry at their pay-per-view. AR Fox lost to Nick Wayne. Nick Wayne stapled a picture of his grandpa on his face, on AR Fox's face. I can't wait to see what's going to happen when Nick Wayne goes in the ring with Hook. Hook's going to destroy that guy. He's going to destroy him and Christian, who, by the way, is still the number one contender for the AEW championship. So that's another thing that we gotta watch out for. Do we want to see another run with Christian Cage becoming the world champion? Absolutely. I think it's going to happen. In the main event, the Death Riders beat the Conglomerate, but then it was a whole melee after that, guys. The Trios title was on the line. Pac, Claudio, and the Yes Boy, Willa Yuta, took on Briscoe, Kyle O'Reilly, and the baldhead guy. the Japanese baldhead guy. I don't know his name. I can't pronounce his name right now. But I'm not stereotyping against him. He's one of the toughest wrestlers I've seen in AEW. And that's, I can't pronounce his name. The next time I come on the airwaves, I will. But I think it's Ishiro or something like that. I don't want to mispronounce his name. But he is a tough guy in the ring, man. Of course, Orange Cassidy and John Moxley's heating up. I want everybody to pay attention. Could this be a turn of Darby Allin? Darby Allin could turn on these guys. It could happen. Keep your eyes focused on that, man. Keep your eyes focused. Now, before I go, I want to recap something. That I want everybody just to hear me out on something. And I want to talk about, it's a sports thing. Everybody knows that Jake Paul and Mike Tyson's fight is this Friday on Netflix. I don't really want to watch it. And I'm going to tell you why. I don't want to see Mike Tyson at 55 years old, 56, however old he is. I don't want to see him go out there and Jake Paul catch him slipping and knock him out. Now, there's a lot of people saying that Mike Tyson is going to knock this guy out. But there's also a lot of people say that Jake Paul is going to beat Mike Tyson. I don't know, because I think that Tyson should not get back in the ring and have a whole. Let me say this. I don't think this match is going to. There's no way in the world that this boxing match is going to go 12 rounds or 15. I think you go 7 rounds, and if Tyson or Jake Paul has not been knocked out and they've been having a close fight, let the judges do the unanimous decision. But everybody's going to want to see a knockout. I don't know, man. I don't know. And I don't really want to watch it, but I know it's coming on Friday on Netflix, and I might just take a glance at it. But I don't want to see Mike Tyson go out there and Mike Tyson is one of the greatest boxers of all time. I don't know if he's in the Boxing Hall of Fame or not, but he should be. I know he had that fight with Roy Jones Jr. Last year or a year before that, or whenever that was. I think it was last year. He fought Roy Jones, and both of them looked like, I know Mike Tyson still got them hands. But I don't want to see him lose to Jake Paul. And I don't want to see Jake Paul go out there and embarrass himself against Mike Tyson. Because that could possibly happen. I just don't want to see them. Because a lot of people are saying they're both going to embarrass each other. We'll see. We'll have to wait and see, man. That's all I can tell y'all. And on that note, I'm about to get off here. You guys are gonna have a great night. Keep it in mind. Sleep well. Say your prayers. Pray for me. I'll pray for you. God bless you. God keep you.